So I'm wrapping up this little job for David, where I designed this roof system to go over these two shipping containers. And I was trying to come up with a good attachment method. And I think if y'all have seen my earlier videos on this, you'll know that the one project that I did for Chief Military Project, we just had these straps every 4 feet. And I always kind of felt like, and of course, that wasn't for human habitation, it was just for storage. So one thing that makes me nervous about this, not having any attachment method any closer than 4 feet, is just wind. I mean, if you've ever, it's funny, I was looking at these videos, or one of these videos here. Let's just make this large here, and we'll play it. Oh, let's see, let's go back a second. For those people who think that their shipping containers are immune to, let's go back to here. There you go. Now, that doesn't look very big, but that's probably an 8'6" or 9'6" by 40-foot container, okay? Just being tossed around by the wind. So you take that, but you look at that and then you say, well, just put a parachute on them. You know, you have a lot of uplift from wind. You're not worried about gravity in this case. You're worried about, you know, the wind coming along through here, whipping through here, raising this structure up. And these, and I need to show some tie downs. I think on the one I did for Dawn, we had big, thick, you know, big, heavy angle brackets here, and they're bolted down to these footings. So you need something, you know, these containers are just like, you know, they're just big hollow metal boxes. So the wind will whip them around easily, and then you attach it to an umbrella or a parachute or a wing, and now you've got the flight of the Valkyries. So anyway, what I would do, and this is what I'm going to recommend to David, I would take, this is an 1/8 inch bar, 1/8 inch thick steel bar, 2 inches wide, 8 inches tall, and I don't show the welds, but I would weld this half of it. Well, it's a little more than half, because this is a 2x4, I'm sorry, this is a 4x4 right here. Let me turn this on where we can get some color. There we go. I had that style. There's a style I used to print drawings with, that so it doesn't waste people's ink. So, but you can see here that this would be, and you would put these on the raised part of the, you know, you would weld it to the top channel, that top angle, and then this raised part of the metal, corrugated metal. And so that's welded, and this is bolted to the 4x4. And then, of course, you've got your, you know, your hurricane tie for the truss. The trusses are on 2-foot centers. And then I've got this type A, and I'll show you my notes in a minute. This is type A, and this is type B. Type B would just be like an 18 gauge piece of metal, like a strap, or maybe 16 gauge. And you would just Tech screw it. Tech screws, or we call them Tech screws because they're self-drilling. You can just, you know, as long as there's a hole in this strap, you can just start spinning it, and it'll drill its own hole through this angle and the siding, the metal. And then up here you can just use a lag bolt. So that's type B. That would be a minor strap. But you know, if I was going to use this for human habitation, I would have both of these types. You know, every other truss would get every other type. You know, now you could get by probably with just using this minor type every 2 feet, but I'd want to have some kind of welded connection at some point, you know, and then these trusses tied off really well. So that if a big wind does come along, it's going to have to lift up this whole structure. Now, in between, on these intermediate 4x4s, I think you can just get by with toenailing the bottom cords. You really shouldn't have to do much there at all, but I think I would tend to be in a habit of, you know, toenailing that off, just to keep the bottom cords on layout. Where's my purlins? Let's see. Oh, I got the framing turned off. I was trying to show this. There we go. And then I think I showed this in the last video, but here's my bracing. Let's see if I can get it in the right angle here. You just got a purlin, which is a 2x4 laid flat on top of the bottom cord, and then you stand one up on its edge like that. That makes your purlin, and then that makes it also easier to attach your angle brace here. You just want to get this brace as long as you can at whatever angle, you know. That'll give it lateral bracing. And then this brace up here is one you can use. I wish my mouse is going crazy. This one you can install while you're setting the trusses. You just lay it out on, you know, put your layout marks on there every 2 foot centers, and that helps you lay those out. And then I struggled a little bit with the. That's why I had the framing turned off. I struggled a little bit with this house line rafter, or truss, I'm sorry, because originally I had it just a typical house line truss where it just had vertical members, but it's spanning this opening right here also. So what I came up with, and we've done this on other jobs, is you just take a regular truss, and then you just you either have the truss company, you just tell them it's a gable end truss, and they'll put these vertical pieces in there so that you can nail your plywood and siding to it. So, and that's also a dropped truss, and it's dropped. If the truss company does it, they'll put this tail on here for you, and then when you put your lookouts on, see, they can hang it. What they do, since this truss is dropped, those lookouts can go back here and tie into this first truss, common truss, and then they cantilever out. That's really strong. That's the strongest way to do your overhangs. So that's that. And then of course we've got our roof decking. Where's my roof sheeting? I've got another layer, roof decking, where I showed the actual sheets. There we go. I did that so David could do his material list easily. This whole thing should be really easy to come up with material lists. And then your metal roof. There. I'm just showing some corrugated, just because that's what I had in my textures for SketchUp. But I actually like the R panel. Let's go. Oh, video's still playing. This panel. And let's see, R panel. This should be one. Where are you going to show me the shape? Here we go. I like this one because it has this high rib, and you can use it on low pitched roofs. It's like 1.25 inch rib there. So that's a really nice panel. I like it. You can get it I like it in Galvalume too. R panel Galvalume. This might be it right here. They got it at Lowe's. If I can get a blown up picture. Well, I can't get it. That's frustrating. I can't get it any bigger. There we go. But anyway, that's just some ideas there. And let's go back to the truss details here. I did an exploded view of the trusses, and I'll show you the drawings here in just a second. The paper drawings. This is a common truss, and then this is the gable end truss, house line truss. So let's go to those drawings. I do those drawings in a program called Layout for SketchUp. It comes with SketchUp Pro, the paid version. And so this is my cover sheet, and we'll typically have a cover sheet in architectural drawings. And one of the main purposes for that is just to give like an overall graphic of the project and have project information and the sheet index, the drawing list. And so, I just realized I had to add, I added a couple of sheets here. I'm glad I went through this. And then here we got our foundation layout for the piers. Now some people will want to pour a big slab and set these on there. That's fine. Both the projects I did for the military and now David wanted those piers so they could just put gravel or something between the two. And then there's your simple layout for the containers and the roof framing plan, the roof decking plan. This is your elevations. There's just a graphics section, like a 3D section, cutting through the middle. And then here's your truss details. In case, I think he hinted that he wanted to build his own trusses. So what I did was I took all those pieces and I kind of dimensioned them. And then I showed where those points are, those connection points for the webs. And then here's the detail for the gable end. And then here's the detail with my notes over here for the attachment method. And again, this is gonna, this is gonna depend a lot on whether you're using it for just storage, what type of occupancy is what we would say in, construction. Is it residential? Is it storage? Is it an outbuilding? So if somebody's going to be living in a place where I'm designing a roof over a storage container, it's going to have a very sufficient attachment method for it. And of course, the building inspector is going to be looking at this too if you're going to have to pull a building permit. So all of this stuff needs to be taken into consideration. So I sent those drawings over to David, and I wanted to thank him for this little project. These little projects, believe it or not, put gas in the truck. I was trying to get it back to the elevation view here. I usually use this front perspective view just to see an overall view. But they help a lot, and I really appreciate people like David that give me these little jobs to do. And if you need something done like this, just let me know. I don't rubber stamp these. I wouldn't just sell you David's project. I would want to get to know you a little bit and understand your project, understand the use of it, and design it specifically for your project. So people have asked me that in the past, can you just sell me these drawings? And first of all, it doesn't seem right ethically to me to sell these once I've done them for an individual. I feel like that individual kind of owns it, even though I own the design in this video. I give them, ethically, I give them ownership of it, of their project. So what I like to do is to, like I said, make these individual projects, talk about what you're going to use it for, what size containers, what are the dimensions between here, do you want to put, two containers together, what's the project use, what's the grade like, what's your soil type, all that stuff. Really, you should never just buy a drawing out of a magazine and try to put it on your, you should always get some help from somebody who's built these things before, and design your project. Even if you're going to design it yourself, do this, get into SketchUp, get into something, and design your project individually, and go from there. You know, you're gonna, by the time you get ready to build this, you're gonna be intimately aware of every single screw and nail and bracket and, you know, fastener and piece of decking and roofing. You're gonna know exactly, oopsie, where they all go, what they're for, and how much it's going to cost. It's just going to be that way. And if you don't go through that, and David is going through this with me because he's watched these videos, I've talked with him through email, and I feel like he knows his project. So anyway, didn't mean to make this a long video. I just wanted to get that information out there about the roof attachment method. Thanks a lot, guys.